The prologue to the story begins in a cabin in the woods. In one of its rooms, two young siblings are scared of something behind the door. It happens to be one of the worst things: a merciless father barging through. He takes his daughter away to protect his sister. The boy tells his dad to punish him, not her. He takes the poor girl to an active stove. The girl uses this opportunity to strike her father with a poker, except she takes his life with. The scene ends with the brother and sister holding hands as they look at their deceased father. After that gruesome opener, we are introduced to a couple walking away from a hospital. They both seem broken about something. Once they arrive home, the husband, Justin, lays his wife down in bed. Later, we see there is a bed for a baby in the room. Justin tells his wife, Val, that she has to eat something, yet she's unable to for some reason. She looks at the crib and cries, allowing us to guess what may have happened in the hospital. Later, a lady visits the couple, learning from Justin that Val is not feeling good. It is revealed that she lost her twin babies. Somehow, she's also become sensitive to city noise. The visitor, Chloe, advises him that they move away from the city. Justin likes the idea, but says they can't afford it. Moving along, Chloe enters Val's room to check on the hurt woman. Since she is a nurse, she recommends that Val get up every few hours to avoid getting blood clots. She also says it's not Val's fault. When Chloe returns to Justin, she tells him to get rid of the crib so Val isn't reminded of it all day. Again, she advises that the couple move to a quieter place. The next scene shows a car moving along the open road. Upon arriving at the destination, Justin exits it and looks at the cabin we saw at the start. The sign on the front door states, "There is no trespassing." However, it's not for Justin because the man removes the sign like the words don't mean anything to him. He enters the cabin, where he removes the newspapers that cover the windows. He starts cleaning before he eventually returns home to Val. He surprises her with photos of their new home. Looking at them, she says they can't afford such a place. But Justin informs her he has been saving money, and the cabin was a steal. It is approximately 100 miles from their current home. The environment will be perfect for Val, with no traffic and no city noise. Thus, the couple starts driving there together this time. Once they arrive at the cabin, Val delights in seeing the very different home from the one they transition to. She searches the cabin alone, whilst her husband unloads the car. In a downstairs area, she enters a room with twin beds, one of which has a doll resting on it. There is also a child's drawing of a family of 4. Then Val walks outside to stand in the veranda and look into the woods. She remembers how Chloe apologized to her about Val's twins not having made it. Shortly after, Justin joins her. Despite just having her painful memory, she expresses her gladness that there are no honking or sirens. She loves the silence of it. Soon, a short-lived dizziness takes hold of her, prompting Val's husband to walk her back inside. The next morning, he shows what kind of caring man he is by bringing Val a wholesome breakfast in bed. He says she was sleeping for 16 hours, and she admits that she can't stop thinking about their twins. She hopes it will get better. Justin leaves her home alone as he goes into town to see if he can find work. As she lies in a bathtub full of water, a sudden noise gets her attention. It makes her leave and call out to Justin. Although she doesn't see it, a man is standing strangely, facing the corner. Following this, Val starts getting situated in her new home. She takes out their photos to place in the appropriate areas. The last photo in the box is of a pregnant Val, not something she wants to be reminded of. At night, she starts to write a review on her laptop, but the lights suddenly go out, distracting her. So she searches in the dark until a rat scares her by running out of a cabinet. Thankfully, Justin arrives at this moment for her to tell him of this slight inconvenience. He enters the basement, where he searches with a flashlight. Interestingly, a rocking chair is there, slightly rocking by itself. After finding the panel, Justin turns a switch to activate the lights. When he exits the room, the couple hears a noise in there. Yet Justin dismisses it by saying it must be a rat. We will see if his words will return to bite him. Later, he asks Val if she had a good day, and she guesses she did. He thinks she allowed a rat to ruin her day. Her real reason for being unhappy is that she is alone. Drawing near her, Justin wants her to know she is never alone. He is with her even during his absences. The next day, we see Val sleeping alone in bed. She has a brief dream of a man walking inside a dark house. Once Justin wakes her up, she says she had a bad dream. Left alone at home again, she goes to the washroom to take her medication. We see perhaps the same man in the mirror that she still does not. Then she takes a few books to a table and looks at one called Angel Baby. This find makes Val call her friend Rose to ask if the latter sent her the book. However, Rose has never heard of it. Switching to another friend, She calls Chloe to leave a message, saying she wants to ask her about the medication she prescribed to Val. She believes she is getting dizzy. She feels worse due to the pills. Afterward, she lies on the couch and starts to read Angel Baby. She eventually falls asleep and dreams about a man obscured by darkness, coming to a young girl to tell her it's reading time. He also calls her Angel Baby. Since the girl is the one from the film's prologue, we can infer the man is her merciless father. Soon Justin returns home, causing Val to wake up. He gives her a pleasant surprise by telling her that he was offered a job. To celebrate, he got takeaway food. Thus, the couple starts eating by the fireplace. She asks him if he left the book she was reading in the cabin, but he has never seen it. This prompts her to wonder who lived in their new home before them. While they sleep, someone watches them. It's a man who disappears like a ghost. Val notices the presence and gets up to investigate. As she descends the stairs, Angel Baby suddenly falls off the table like it was pushed by an invisible force. After picking it up, Val hears a sound. She looks out the window to witness someone walking by and screams in fear. This quickly sends her husband down to tend to her panic. Once she informs him of what she observed, the man ventures outside to check on it. He descends to a lower area, where he hears creaking. Going further into it, he finds nothing. So he returns to tell Val there was no one there. Justin thinks it was a bear, a statement his wife disagrees with. In the morning, Chloe calls Val. She wants to visit and stay for a few days. While the friends talk, we see the toaster is emitting smoke. The moment Val notices it, she rushes to the toaster to take out the blackened bread. The situation gave her a nosebleed, making her take a pill. As she dresses, we see someone watching her from our point of view. When she hears a creak from the closet, she directs herself toward it. Opening it quickly, she finds nothing unusual. Shortly after, Val starts to walk outside in the woods. She relaxes out there until she experiences a pain in her stomach. Thankfully, a man drives by to notice it. He stops his car to ask if she is okay. He does not buy her lie that she is, and wants to give her a ride. Therefore, she gets inside his car, learning he is Frank. After she tells him which cabin is hers, Frank becomes surprised by it. The man refers to it as the Milner house. Noticing his surprised state, Val asks if something is wrong. He waits for a few seconds and tells her it's nothing. He didn't know it was for sale. Before she leaves, she asks if there is anything she should know about the house. But Frank keeps up with his previous statement that all is okay with it. We get the impression he knows a lot about the house, yet chooses to withhold information for some reason. Upon returning home, Val enters the basement with a flashlight. She opens an old suitcase and looks through the papers inside. She finds a document titled Deed of Sale. Walking away, Val hears a noise, thinking it's Justin. However, no one answers her, so she messages her husband to come home early. Slowly exiting the basement, the tension rises. Val drops her phone near a door, and it eerily slams on her while she picks it up. Since it hits her head, she loses consciousness. At night, Justin returns home, finding his wife on the floor. He gets her to wake up and walks the poor woman to the couch. He tends to her and discovers there is blood on her head. He wants to take her to the hospital, but Val says Chloe could inspect her wound tomorrow. At a sensitive time like this, Justin tells his wife how much he loves her. Val returns those words to him. Changing the topic, she mentions the walk she went on today, and Justin learns that Frank brought her home. He is curious to know who the man is, prompting her to say he's their neighbor. She thinks Frank's behavior was strange, because it felt like he knew something about the house, yet did not want to say it. As the couple lies in bed, Justin hears a noise in the other room. This time, he is the one to get up and investigate. Downstairs, he sees a pale man lying on the floor. When a door shuts behind him, he turns around. Turning back, Justin doesn't see the man anymore. He is now in the bedroom, scaring Val to the point of her screaming. Hearing her, Justin rushes upstairs to comfort her. She tells him someone was on top of her, but he tells her it was just her nightmare. After she takes a pill, she says something is wrong with the cabin. She feels someone's presence in it. Opposing her, Justin does not believe in this oddity. Come morning, Val uses the document she found to search for a person named Barry Milner on the internet. She discovers he was gruesomely assassinated inside his home. At that moment, Justin returns home, and she instantly informs him of what she discovered. She says the previous owner of their cabin was assassinated inside it. Interestingly, all Justin replies with is that many people lose their lives in their homes. At this point, Val realizes he knew about the occurrence, and this makes her angry. He withheld it from her because he didn't want her to overreact. Soon Chloe arrives. Justin tells her it's been weird living at the cabin. He says it wasn't as good as he hoped it would be. He reveals that he saw something last night, and Chloe becomes intrigued. She jokes by asking if it was a ghost. From Justin's expression, she realizes her joke was the truth, but she tells him he's grieving, which makes it easy for his mind to conjure things. She also says it was the correct decision for them to move there. Switching to Val, she hears music and gets up to look where it's coming from. Opening a cabinet in another room, she finds a music box. She opens it to find photos of the family we saw in the beginning. Disturbingly, the two children in at least one of the photos have holes in place of their eyes. Seeing this causes Val to call out to Justin, who is occupying the veranda with Chloe. Joining them, Val warmly greets Chloe. When Val re-enters the cabin with her friend, she sets the music box down with the photos to get wine for both of them. Chloe looks at the odd photo Val found. She doesn't comment on it once Val returns with the wine. Later, she informs Chloe that the previous owner of the cabin was assassinated inside of it. Chloe tells her the same thing Justin did, that it's common for people to meet their demise in their homes. The important difference, Chloe restates, is that the owner was assassinated. To this, Chloe thinks he may have deserved it. In the next scene, the trio sits at the table to eat. It doesn't take long for Val to get dizzy, prompting Chloe to advise her to lie down. Thus, Justin helps her walk upstairs. At a different hour, Justin and Chloe enjoy wine together. It seems like she is getting slightly flirtatious with him. The song that plays makes her want to dance with him. Since he doesn't want to, she wonders why he's tense. The man is worried about how things are going. He tells her how Val is seeing things in the cabin, but Chloe proposes that she might be losing her mind instead. She adds that he has to take care of Val, along with Chloe. At this moment, we see Val standing nearby, eavesdropping on their conversation. She hears her friend tell her husband that she needs him in her life. Chloe asks, when was the last time they were together like this? Alas, these words bring tears to Val. Soon Justin cuts their night short, telling their guest he's going to bed. Left alone, Chloe looks at the couple's marriage photo. If it was ambiguous before, it's apparent now that she disapproves of their relationship as she places the photo face down. This seems to cause the book Angel Baby to fall on the floor. Chloe looks at the book for an uncomfortable moment and tosses it into the active fireplace. Suddenly, she hears music from the music box. She enters the room with the twin beds to watch it play. After she picks it up, she turns around to see the ghostly man standing there. The sight of him makes her scream, and Justin hears it. So he rushes to save her from the man who is no longer there. He tells her to sleep, but she pleads for him to stay with her just for the night. In the morning, we see Val is alone in bed, meaning her husband likely chose to stay with Chloe. She sends him a message, asking if he's at work. Subsequently, she enters the living room, where she sees Chloe cleaning the fireplace. She places the marriage photo in its proper position, which Chloe seems to have forgotten to do. Soon Justin arrives and Chloe asks Val if she took her medication today. Though she says she did, we don't know if it's true. Chloe says she will be going into town with Justin. She tells Val to rest at home. Alone in the cabin, Val looks through Justin's wallet and finds a receipt from an Irish pub. After she pockets it, she looks through Chloe's suitcase. When she hears someone walking downstairs, she stops. Justin re-enters the cabin to collect his wallet. Val walks over to him, firmly saying she wants to go with him. She even uses profanity, saying Chloe does not know what she needs. Despite what she said, Val stays home as Justin says they will return in a short time. Alone again, she opens her laptop to check on the phone numbers connected to the books she received. She sees Chloe's phone number among several others. Discovering this brings discomfort to her, causing her to reach for the wine. Later, she frantically searches for something in her room, but finds nothing. She sits in silence, remembering the hurtful words Chloe told her husband last night, and rushes to vomit in the washroom. Following this, she looks at her pills to search for them on the internet. She finds they are oxycodone, which prompts her to toss them in the trash. Meanwhile, Justin is at a bar with Chloe. She sees Val is calling him, so she cancels the call. She tells Justin they hardly spend time together due to him wanting to go home. Once they leave, we see Frank at the bar, asking the bartender if she knows that a couple has moved into the Milner house. She wonders who would be crazy enough to live there. The man who just left, Frank tells her. We learn the cabin was uninhabited for 25 years. Shifting to Val lying in bed, we see the ghostly man standing at the doorway, watching her. The door shuts without him touching it, and Val wakes up. Soon her husband returns home with a woman who can now be called Val's enemy. He slips into bed with her. Val inquires about his whereabouts, and the man lies that he was passing out business cards. He wants to sleep, but Val starts being intimate with him. Therefore, he joins her. Afterward, we see Chloe sleeping alone. An eerie figure snatches the blanket off of her. Then we see the haunting man standing over the couple with a hammer in his hand. Come morning, The hammer lies on a nearby cabinet. Val wakes up and looks at it before approaching Chloe with a tool in her hand. Val tells her she feels like they don't spend much time with each other. Chloe replies they could do it when she returns from the coffee shop. The next scene has Val on the phone, hearing the person on the other line tell her that Justin did not come into work today. After the phone call, she gets a knock on the door from Frank. The man says he stopped by to check on her prior to sharing some important information with the woman. He says he went to the real estate office and learned the people there did not know the Milner house was for sale. Frank also says he was at the bar where he saw her husband. She has a good man, he adds. Shifting to the bar, we see Justin dancing with Chloe. Soon an officer enters. The bartender, Maggie, tells him the news that a couple bought the Milner cabin. He's shocked to hear this. She even points to the man who owns it. Back at the cabin, Val does some research. Surprisingly, she learns the cabin belongs to Justin and Chloe. The document shockingly reveals that they have the same last names. Disoriented, Val walks into the bar, in which neither Justin nor Chloe are present. She sits near Maggie, who uses her experience to guess that Val has had a rough day. Furthermore, she correctly guesses it has to do with a man. This sparks a story from the bartender about how she was once married to a despicable man. She was very much in love with him in the beginning. One day, however, he cheated on her. Although she gave him a second chance, he did it again. He was begging her to take him back after she tried to get rid of him. At night, he broke into her house and got inside her bed. That action made her hold a knife to him, telling the man if he ever returned, she would take his life with it. Maggie finishes the story by saying men like that are empty inside, and nothing will fill them up. In the next scene, Val is at home, watching the active fireplace. When Justin returns, she asks him if he had a nice time. Turning on the light, he acts confused. She does not believe he was at work, making her start an argument. Val claims to know he was cheating on her with Chloe. Speaking of her, she enters the cabin amidst the heated argument. Val accuses her of engaging in intimacy with Justin. At this point, Chloe tells Val the latter does not understand something and wants Justin to inform her, since he doesn't want to do it. Chloe says the cabin has a past that she has been trying to forget about. She says her father was despicable, plus Justin is her brother. This was the cabin they grew up in. They both tell Val that their dad was a monster. Then comes the horrible shock to the woman, Chloe telling her she could not allow a child to be born from a Milner. She could not let the evil continue, meaning she was responsible for taking the lives of Val's. Of course, hearing this fuels Val with anger, and she smacks Chloe to the floor. Trying to retaliate, Chloe takes the poker she used to butcher her father long ago, and accidentally strikes Justin with it. After the ladies fight with each other, Val escapes outside. Chloe follows her to the lower area where Justin searched earlier. Soon Val emerges from the darkness with a shovel, knocking Chloe out with it. She runs back into the cabin to steal Justin's car keys and collect the hammer. Unfortunately, her chance to escape gets hindered when Chloe catches her, and their fight resumes. Chloe manages to steal Val's hammer before slamming her with it. She follows this by telling Val she does not belong in this family. What prevents Chloe from possibly taking her life is her seeing something that makes her scream in fear. Though we don't see him, it's very like the ghost of her dad, knocking her down and dragging her away. An unknown amount of time later, we see Val lying in a hospital bed. Once she wakes up, a nurse tells her the doctor will be there shortly. Then the officer we saw at the bar shows up, saying he was the first person on the scene after Frank found her unconscious. He says they were all worried, considering how Val was asleep for a long time. Her first thought is of her husband, asking if he is okay. The officer assures her that the doctor will inform her about him. The officer is very curious about a certain issue. He wants to know how Chloe was dragged to the basement. Hearing this, Val becomes anxious. The inquiry prompts the nurse to tell the officer that it's enough questions for now. Left alone with her, the nurse says he needs her to regain her strength for her baby. Needless to say, Val is confused hearing such news. The nurse realizes she didn't know and congratulates her for it. He adds that God is watching out for her, making her baby an angel baby, but she does not look happy. The final scene shows Val putting the cabin up for sale. She looks at the window and sees the ghostly man looking at her before she walks away.